Let's go!
The Tekken Beta 2 concluded, and I'm pretty happy at the end of it because Tekken's still fun. I was really enjoying new stuff with heat systems, so I'm pretty dang excited about it. Lars, funny enough, I ended up having even more fun with the game when I switched away from Lars and then switched to Jin, which is a weird situation because Jin I've always switched to in the past, and he's been like, oh god, it makes me dislike this game because he's so difficult. So that's not really a unique thing. It's just sort of unique to Tekken 8, where switching back to Jin actually was even easier than playing Lars. Made me realize how difficult Lars is as a character. But I have some mega criticisms with the Tekken 8 closed beta test, different from the old network test. And not a lot of them are due to gameplay reasons. Like, the game is a massive knowledge check. All these characters have these wild things. Azucena seems like impossible to deal with, especially online if there's a bit of delay. I am really having a tough time with this game's netcode. It's weird because even a year ago when we were jumping back into Tekken 7 and playing more T7, I don't even feel like I was getting that rough of matches when I was playing Tekken F and 7. And there was significantly less people. There's probably a lot of reasons for this. You know, there's a new engine and stuff like that, but that's the direct line of comparison we have. Most of my matches in Tekken 7 were kind of okay, weirdly enough. And they're doing, I think, mostly the same thing for Tekken 8. However, Tekken 8 got some issues where obviously if you play against Wi-Fi, it is a friggin' nightmare. I'm not kidding you. On Wi-Fi connections, it's like the game defaults to like 8 to 10 frames of input delay. At some point, I had to just be like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. Because anytime I was playing somebody from like either far away distances or under Wi-Fi, it just felt so underwater, so muddy that it was gross. To the point where even playing a character like Jin was way easier playing online. That's inherently a big issue. Wi-Fi is just like almost unfriggin' playable. It's brutal, man. And at least half of the players are playing on Wi-Fi. So I was like, all right, so maybe this is a PC thing, because I did notice the PC version of Tekken 8, there's a lot of weird frame rate problems. The game just seems to, every once in a while, I don't know why, go to like 40 to 50 to 45-ish FPS. It's not 60. However, the game is reporting 60. So it's not like, you know, oh, we're dropping frames because of a lack of hardware or like hardware support. No, my 4090 is handling this pretty well. There's something going on in the game itself that just makes it feel really bad sometimes. And it's not all the time. Sometimes all your matches are like running at 60 and you're like, oh, okay. And then other times it's just like, dude, what is going on? We are missing some frames here, even though it's still reporting 60. I thought it was the PC version, and we're like, oh, maybe it's the opponent and it's trying to sync you up, right? And they are, you know, there's a rift going on, so it's dropping frames for you because their computer can't handle it. I'm like, all right, so maybe the console version is just the way to go for Tekken 8. Switch to the console version, it still friggin' happens. It still happened. I was like, huh? I was blown away that all the issues I was running into in the PC version were still taking place on the console version, and I turned off crossplay on the console just so I can get only PlayStation users. And yeah, as I'm fighting matches, I'm like, dude, why? This is chugging. Game is like dropping to like 40 to 50 FPS, which is, some people would say is like, oh, that's not that bad, you'll be fine. I'm really sensitive to even minor frame drops in games, especially when it comes to games that require high precision or reaction or stuff like that. I'll take Tekken 8 at 30 FPS if it stays 30. Right, just look, give me that. But this weird fluctuating stuff where it's like, okay, the game is registering 60, it's not 60 though. I think it's an engine issue, and I think there's weird frame pacing with the game. I really do. I think like every other frame, it's not counting or something like that, or it's doubling frames. I personally think outside of all the netcode issues, and there's still quite a bit of netcode issues because, again, we have a game that doesn't even feel as good as Tekken 7, which is bad. I think that needs to get addressed as soon as possible. This game cannot be running with weird frame pacing problems. I get it if it's like 60 to 55. A lot of fighting games do that shit, right? Cinematics, stuff like that will drop frames. There's several examples we had from the final session where it's like, dude, what is going on? Still says 60. I asked my opponent, I'm like, hey, how is it for you? Like, is this like a one-sided frame thing, or is this going better for you? And they responded, no, it was chugging on my end too. It wasn't just the character stuttering and stuff like that. It was the actual frame rate of the game dropping. So maybe that is something to do with how the game's rollback or delay or 3 frames. I don't know, however that shit works. There's something going on here that really needs to get fixed. And here's the thing. It was happening in the previous beta, and I really didn't get to pay attention to it too much until now, where I'm like, oh yeah, no, this is still going on. Like, sometimes the game just looks like it's chugging, and I don't know why. They're lucky. It's fun. Like, it's really fun. I have a great goddamn time with Tekken 8. Really enjoyable time. I'm just blown away that we are in a situation where we're getting a new Tekken and we're sort of entering a moment of launch period that we're going to get possibly as many network issues as Tekken 7 had at launch. And I don't think many people remember Tekken 7 at launch, but the first month of that game coming out, I was super excited for a Tekken game. It kind of cemented the fact that, oh, this is way too frustrating. In most situations, Tekken 8's kind of the same thing, where now you have to be like 5 bars only. You have to be right next door to me, and there can be no compromises, no Wi-Fi, no funk. You have to have a 4090 and it has to run perfect. That is not an ideal situation for a fighting game. And that's my criticism, is that, yeah, Wi-Fi is a problem with Tekken 8. It 100% is, but just acknowledging that that's a problem and doing nothing about it, I think is an even bigger issue. Does Tekken 8 have rollback? You know what? It might have rollback. It very well might. However, it doesn't feature any of the benefits of rollback netcode. And the whole point of rollback netcode is for it to fill in the gaps in packet loss information when you have a game or two players that don't have the best connection. It's not going to fix everything, but it helps out a lot. And it doesn't add a shit ton of input delay on top of it. A lot of the Tekken 8 matches you play online, if they're 4 bars or below or Wi-Fi, you're sitting on like 7, 8 to 10 frames of input delay. And I'm like, this is brutal, dude. I'm being teleported back to like 2006 or some shit like that, and I'm playing Tekken 5 Dark Resurrection online. Holy crap, I don't like it. I honestly feel if Tekken 8 even gets to a point where it gets as good of netcode as even Tekken 7, it'll be okay, man. Like, this game still had the most people playing it online ever, but I still think it's pretty disappointing that we're playing another 3D fighting game from Bandai Namco, and input delay is a huge issue. The delay aspect of this game adds so much input delay that it's wild. And then we have weird frame rate problems. So there's a lot to fix. Less than 3 months, till it comes out, and the game is super fun. I highly encourage everybody to try it when it does come out, because it seems like it's going to have a ton of features, and the characters are probably more fun than they ever have been. And there's, you know, it's clear that if you're good at Tekken 7 and previous Tekkens, you're going to be really good at Tekken 8, because a lot of that information carries over. I was so disappointed that one night, man. Like that second evening when I was playing, it was so brutal just to have a coin toss of like, is this going to be okay or not? And then even on the third night, really going with an investigative eye and seeing, so what exactly is happening, and trying not to, like, I'm not just going to have fun tonight. I'm just going to try to F around and see how it works, and realizing, dude, yeah, half of our matches are running at like 40 FPS. The hell is going on? Got to get fixed. That's the number one thing that has to get fixed.